are you today? Now, today we are going to be doing a review, but it's not going to be as long as our typical reviews. It's going to be something quick and abrupt. The whole purpose of setting up this channel was to provide people with alternatives. It's not always about buying the highest end stuff. It's also about finding a proper balance between the highest end stuff and also stuff that is a lower quality, or rather no-name brands, but that are of a decent quality, that will still last as good as some of the higher end brands, or perform close, if not similar, to the brands. But obviously, the more you're saving money by buying some of this other stuff, the more stuff you're probably going to procure, or the more stuff is going to get accumulated. So my question at the end of the day, or the biggest question that most people face, is maintenance. Someone with 2 cars still has to treat them like 2 cars. They both have to get registered separately. They both have to be insured separately. And obviously when they go to the mechanic, they also go to the mechanic, hopefully at separate intervals, because they've got different servicing needs. So much like that, gadgets apply, whether you've got a laptop, or regular Windows laptop, or a MacBook, or a regular gaming PC, TV, whatever the case may be, even a fridge. At some point it is going to require some sort of service. So now what we're trying to do here on this particular platform is to show you also how to maintain and service some of these items, or at least the best way possible. And one of the things that I would like to talk about are tools. Now, before I take you over to the next, to the table over there, just to give you an idea of some of the things I'm currently working on, things that I'm going to probably be reviewing in the next couple of weeks as well. I just thought I would sort of give that a bit of an intro, because I'm not going to be doing the typical videos at the moment, as I'm trying to work on building a machine and actually upping their production values, editing, design a proper logo, maybe make a bit of an intro music, something like that, just to make the production levels better. New tripods, better lighting, multiple camera angles so that people can actually see things, not only just overhead, but maybe from the front, to actually see my reaction as I discuss some of these items. So bear with me in the next few weeks while we sort of try to up the ante and then sort of get things the way they need to be. Also, I'm dealing with injuries and I'm waiting for surgery and things like that. So I do have a bit on my plate, but I thought I would review and talk about something real quick, which is just one of the things that I maybe will be endorsing. Also can be found very cheap. And then some of these things I'll open up later and we'll do proper unboxings and sort of discuss more into, I'll discuss more and get into the best tools and things like that that you need. But at the very basic, people do need something to start off with. And so for all the people who are into DIY, or people who do build up their computers or minor electronics, etc., I'm just going to give you, I'm trying to give you the best manual that I can, and I'm probably going to spread that in the next week or so. Over the course of the week, I'm going to spread it maybe across 2 or 3 reviews and sort of discuss some of the tools and things like that that you should probably have as essentials. Okay? Bear with me. All right. So since we're talking about maintenance, one of the products I'm going to endorse right away. You can't see me as I'm off camera. I'll be sitting down in a moment. At the moment, I'm currently working on a Nintendo Switch that's refusing to switch on. Okay? Which is ironic, right? Nintendo Switch. It's been dropped a few times, as you can see. Pardon the reflections of the lighting. But this has been dropped a few times and has a few things that's going on. I don't know what's going on. I'm hoping that it's going to be a battery and not so much water damage. Now, first and foremost, Nintendo does use particular type of screws. Okay. I don't know if y'all will be able to see that. Let me see if I can find. You'll find your occasional Phillips screw, but then at some point, I don't know if magnification can do me any justice on these cameras, but at some point what's going to happen is you're going to find yourself dealing with what we call tri-wing. No, I just don't know if the camera will be able to focus on that. Maybe a bit too harsh. There we go. It's like a Y-shaped sort of screw. These are called tri-wings. Now, I went everywhere looking for one of these just so that I could really open up this thing and sort of have a look and see exactly what seems to be the problem, because I'm trying to get into the guts to actually get to the battery to see if maybe something will happen, because for whatever reason it will charge, or at least it's saying that it's charging but it's not switching on. So one of the things that I will recommend, one of the things that I will recommend today, and I will do a review on this a little bit later, I do recommend small magnetic trays. In fact, screw doing the review later, let's do it now. What these do essentially, I'll have my cutting knife with me. What these do essentially is they hold on to screws for you, all the small bits and pieces. Rubberized feet, also with the magnet built into them. And so whenever you are dealing with small items, small screws, etc., wires, all that, the last thing that you want to do is lose any of these. So what I would recommend, magnetic trays. These are magnetic trays sold by Workzone. Workzone is an Aldi brand here in Australia. I would say that this would cost you, I think maybe $10 or something. It didn't cost a lot of money. They were not on special, they just were specials that they have, but it's not actually on special. It's just one of those special items that they will have in store. I would recommend, doesn't matter, you can find one on Amazon, you can find one on eBay. I would recommend getting one of these. Great, so that way you don't lose anything. And yes, you can pull it off no problem when you need to, sure. Okay, that's one area that I would recommend. Something that I will actually be doing a full review on would be one of these, depending on how deep you want to go. PCB holder with LED magnification, a magnifier, sorry, and soldering station. You need to be able to see what's going on. You need to be able to sort of get a bit of a magnified feel in terms of somewhat, especially when you're doing finer things like soldering. And you might not even have the soldering gun itself. It doesn't come with the set, so you have to buy that separately. I'll do a review on one that I have. Another thing that I will recommend later on would be a heat gun. Now this is more for bigger jobs than, say, working on small electronics, but I do use it nonetheless. And what this does, it does wonders. So we'll talk about this when you're repurposing old cables. We'll do a bit of DIY kind of stuff, showing you how to repurpose old cables. But really what I came to talk about today, and it's not really an unboxing, but rather a revelation, was initially I was going to recommend these products by Duratech. They do good. One is a console kit, the other one is a hobby kit. They do a pretty solid job, but the toolkit that I was going to recommend, 100%, is the Craftright. I found this in a Bunnings store on clearance for, I think, $10 or $15. But it had all the screws that I could possibly want when dealing with small electronics, including the aforementioned tri-wings that I was explaining before. Very hard to come across, very hard to find things that will open up these gadgets. You usually have to go online to find these, but this will cover most of them, along with, I think, a pointer or something like that, and a smaller knife for cutting and things like that, bits and pieces also for cutting. I would say you can never have enough tools. Supplement that with this as well, a 100-piece screwdriver set by Craftright, because what then that does is at least it covers you for all the heavier stuff that you need to do. Because although you do have some of those bits in here, it's even got some of the security bolts and other bits and pieces that you would have a hard time finding. So according to this, on the 100-piece screwdriver set, what you're going to have is chrome vanadium steel, which is fine, 97 pieces, according to it, which is 25 millimeters, I don't know what the L stands for, or screwdriver bits. So you've got Phillips from 0 to 3, I think it says, slotted ones from about 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5.5, 6, 6.57 to 8 millimeters. Hex, posi, Torx tamper proof, which I'm assuming is for the security bits. Clutch, multi-spleen, torque, twi-wing, not try, twi-wing, square, spanner, hex tamper proof again in inches. The other one is in millimeters, the other one is in inches. So one is numeric, one is metric, the other one is, what do you call it? I'm now forgetting now. One is metrics, one is imperial. Sorry, forgot myself there for a second. And then obviously you're going to have a bit of a magnetic bit holder as well, which is great. I'm guessing that this is where these all fall in, or maybe if you're just screwing something minor, it'll fall into that gap. And then the adapter itself and Y-type driver. So you're going to have, you know, things that you're going to require. This is one of those that I would recommend just to have in your toolkit for general purpose stuff. Electronics, I would say this is your best bet. It's going to open up most things that you want to open, including consoles. Obviously, these Duratec ones, I'll talk about them a little bit more in detail. These are great, especially with the tweezers and just small bits and pieces for you to do snipping and things of that nature, along with the screwdriver head as well. That one with the knives together combined would probably make up this this console set pretty much, because the console set does have tweezers, the screwdrivers, and maybe bits to open up certain shells and things like that. But these two generally will take you a long way. I think the tweezer in that one is missing, but because probably I'm using it for something. But that's currently what I'm using to work on opening things like this, because this will come with the Y-type screws. Again, hopefully that will come in focus. This will come with the Y-type screws. So maintenance-wise, you gotta have this because you're going to need it to work on a PC. You're going to need wire strippers. You're going to need zip ties or cable ties, depending on where you're from. You're going to need a whole bunch of smaller bits and pieces, but today really this was mainly to review this particular product. I saw these on special. I would recommend, especially for people in Australia, I would recommend for you to rush to a Bunnings store and get one of these or maybe two of these and keep a spare, because this will cover most of the smaller bits for you. So it's a nice little case, does most of the, you know, it's got most of the stuff that you need. Bits holder, socket adapter, one-piece precision bits adapter, 6 pieces of blades, obviously, 7 pieces of sockets, 16 CRV bits, 3-piece Phillips, 4 pieces slotted, 3-piece hex, 6-piece Torx, 40-piece CRV precision screwdriver bits, 5 being slotted, 5 being Phillips again, 9-piece Torx, 3 pieces of pentalobes. So cell phones, I would say iPhones and things like that usually use pentalobe screwdrivers, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while. That's the tri-point that we talked about, which is Y 000 000 to Y1. 1-piece U-shape SP6, 6 pieces of hex, 6 pieces of the posi, 3 pieces of the triangle. Okay, and then you've got a 1/4 inch of a 60mm extension bar, which would be, I'm guessing, one of these. Another a scalpel handle and a pickup tool. So I'm guessing this would be the pickup tool, because initially I thought it was a pointer for projectors, but I'm guessing that this is magnetized. So it being magnetized, I'm guessing that what it does is screw, for example, that will pick that up. So while to some people that might not be useful, I can see it being very useful. So depending on who you are, this will get it done. So again, I'm still working on this. I will show videos once I'm confident. It's my first time opening a switch, so I'm not going to talk too much about all that. I've got a few cables here. I've got a PC that I'm building together. I'm going to be trying to edit and improve the quality of the videos as we go. I'm going to try to do more things as we progress, but that's growth of the channel, yeah? We're going to improve, we're going to add a logo, we're going to add more quality video, and hopefully you guys will be able to get the best that you can out of this. It's not just meant to be unboxing, it's meant to also be showing you how to test these things, make sure they're working properly, they do the job that they're supposed to do, and save you money. And that's really what it always comes down to. I'm supposed to be your informed consumer, and you're supposed to come to this place to come and watch the best reviews. And that's really what it comes down to, and that's really what the aim is. So with that being said, I think we'll call it quits, and I guess I'll see you on the next video. And that's currently what I'm working on at the moment. That's building a new machine. Hopefully we can get some edits now, because my laptop won't run Premiere that well. So that's what we're trying to work on at the moment. But yes, remember to get yourselves one of these. I highly recommend it. And if you can supplement it with 100-piece screwdriver set, I think you're covered. And then if you do come across, we'll talk about the Duratech. One is still wrapped up. These are supported, these are sold to you by JCar. These will cover a lot of other things as well. I would recommend, you can never have too many tools. I'll always say that, I always say that to people that don't buy it, but you can never have enough tools. You always need extensions, you always need screws, you always need cables, and the best way to do that is to organize yourself and quite potentially even get yourself one of these. If you do ever need something extra, I would recommend for you to get yourself a bin case. This is what I personally use when I'm doing the much more heavier stuff. I'll review this at some other point, but generally all my small bits and bobs, remotes, little adapters, things that I need, whether it's PCs, whether it's just small things that I work on, USB sticks with operating systems on them, small little squeegees, scrapers, things that will help me shuck up things open, all that kind of stuff. This is what you need. Things for spudging even. You have it all, heat shrink tubes, you name it. So we'll talk about that more in grave detail, but these are things that are essential if you're going to get into this tech game. And also just sometimes when you either slice the cable open and you sever two connections, you're going to need to figure out how to fix that and make sure that it's safe. So those are things that I would recommend 100%. So with that being said, I'm going to leave the video here and catch you on the next one.